Whitney Pittman on the Red River Farm Network. We are outside Sabin, Minnesota for the Pioneer Agronomy Update, and we are talking with Dr. Nadia Krasheninnik at the Moorhead Research Center. You're the Northern Evaluation Zone Lead and soybean breeder. So tell us about this plot behind us, white mold trials, and what you're looking at here.
Thank you, Whitney. Yes, we're right at our sclerotinia disease screening nursery where we place all of our experimental lines that are 2 years prior to commercialization and up. So our 3s, our 4s, commercial lines, and so forth, and checks, competitive checks as well. And we do this nursery every year. So as you know, we've been experiencing kind of a drier season. And during the drier summer, not many growers will deal with white mold pressure. However, we still need to develop white mold tolerant varieties. And one way to put varieties under pressure is to put them in this nursery, which we inoculate and irrigate, and then rate the varieties for tolerance and select only the best ones to go commercial.
So you mentioned it a little bit here, but tell us the timeline, how this process kind of works for a specific variety.
Yes, it's a long process. It takes 7 years or longer. And Corteva soybean breeders start thinking about not just white mold, but a lot of other traits at the time of the cross, at the time they make parental combinations, make sure that the progeny has a chance to be better for white mold tolerance than either of the parents. So at the early generation process of the variety development, we use genomic predictions, which is basically utilizing molecular markers across our vast germplasm collection and trying to pick the progeny that are pinpointing to be better for white mold than others. And at the same time, as experimental lines are moving through the stages of the variety development, they are being tested for yield and performance. And the ones who get to the R3 stage, 2 years prior to going commercial, it's a very small group. And they go very rigorous screening for a lot of other things. So even though the white mold is not an issue for a lot of farmers this year, we're still getting the data for you and trying to bring the best varieties forward.
And I know this nursery here, of course, like you've mentioned, is white mold, and that's the main focus, but it's not just white mold that you guys screen for either.
Absolutely, yes. We also have iron chlorosis nursery, not too far away from Moorhead, which is providing very good data for us from year to year. We also utilize Phytophthora field tolerance screening in Ohio lab. We test for SCN or soybean cyst nematodes in the lab, bioassaying our experimental varieties to confirm that the markers are telling us the right information that varieties do have resistance. We confirm it in the lab in Johnston, Iowa as well. And of course, yield. So yeah, lots of yield trials in the area.
So let's talk about what you've got in your hand here. What are we looking at?
We're looking at 2 plants that have white mold after the inoculation from our nursery. Unfortunately, we've experienced hail event in this area in the middle of July. And I was concerned that with the reduced canopy, we might not get good infection. But looking at the nursery right now, I'm confident we're going to get pretty good data this year.
Great. And so also we've got to touch on new products coming down the line. What are we looking forward to here?
Yes, Whitney, we're very happy with the performance of our A series soybeans. This is the class of enlist varieties in our proprietary Pioneer genetics, which shows really good iron chlorosis tolerance, white mold tolerance as well. And all of our breeders are extremely excited about the pre-commercial class or R4 class this year. We don't know what this series will be called yet. We'll find out in November, but it will be a step change in performance and traits. It's a big class. There will be plenty of new varieties to try. If you haven't tried the A series soybeans, please talk to your local sales rep or Pioneer agronomist to find out which variety would be right for your farm. And please give A series and the new series enlist varieties a chance.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure we cover here before we let you go?
No, I guess I would wish everyone a safe and smooth harvest and finish of the season in 23.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time here for our Pioneer Agronomy update coming to you from Sabin, Minnesota. I'm Whitney Pittman on the Red River Farm Network.